Example 2, given the following equations, we're going to identify the type of function and whether it is even or odd. The end behavior, number of possible x-intercepts, whether it has a max or a min, and the y-intercept. So let x equal 0 to find the y-intercept, so y-intercept's always going to end up being the constant term, and the number of terms. So let's do that in A. So looking at this first equation here, the largest exponent is 4. So this tells me that it is a quartic function. And that means degree 4. So there's sort of two ways you can describe the type. The end behavior. So when it's a 4th degree polynomial, usually it would, and you can flip back, I'm just going to grab those graphs here. So if it's degree 4, we know that the arrowheads are going to go in the same direction. Okay. Normally they would both point upwards. So that's what degree 4 looks like here. That's true if it's a positive coefficient. This has a negative leading coefficient, so therefore it's the opposite, so both arrows would point down. So we would then say that it falls left, falls right. Okay, number of possible x-intercept, you could have 4 possible x-intercepts. Whether, because that's the highest exponent, whether the graph will have a max or a minimum. Even functions will have either a max or a min, odd will not. So if we take a look here, okay, an even function has a minimum down here. That's the lowest point. So it's got a minimum if the arrows open up. If this is reflected, it would have a maximum. Well, I have this page here, an odd function, it goes forever down and forever up. So if it's odd functions, they do not have a max and min. Even functions do. Okay, so again, this picture shows a minimum, but in my graph here, because it's negative and it falls left, falls right, it would not have a minimum. It would be upside down and it would have a maximum. Okay, so we would say max. Okay, what is the y-intercept? To find the y-intercept, you would let x equal 0. So if we put that in here, this is just going to be a 0 plus 10 times 0 squared, 0, plus 5 times 0, 0. So these all stay 0, so it's the constant term, okay? So the y-intercept is equal to -4. The number of turns is how many times it could change direction. So that's always n minus 1, so if n is 4, so it can change direction, or there would be at least, or there would be 3 turns. All right. So what I'd like to do before you watch the next video is do the same thing here for B, and then for, sorry, I just have to turn the page in my booklet here. Do the same thing for C and D. Once you've done that, match those equations to the graphs, okay? And you can look at end behavior, you can look at the general shape to see if it's cubic or quartic, and then watch the next video.